General Hospital spoilers update for Friday, May 9, reveals that Jason Morgan will strike back while Drew Kane's threats get worse. Lulu Spencer will also hunt for intel, so here's what GH fans can look forward to. For starters, Ned Quartermaine will land on the hot seat with Tracy Quartermaine. It looks like Tracy will question whether Ned's loyalty lies with the mob or his mother, as they discuss all the referendum drama. Tracy will face some shockers on Friday's show, so one of them might involve Ned's surprising stance. Whatever the case, Ned will ultimately turn his attention to Lulu, since it seems she'll interview him for her adoption article. Lulu will presumably get Ned to reflect on his experience adopting Leo Quartermaine, but she might squeeze in some other questions that relate to Brooklyn Quartermaine and Lois Cirillo. Now that Lulu's suspicions are on the rise when it comes to Giovanni "Gio" Palmieri's true parentage, she'll try to figure out where Lois was when Gio came into the world. Ned doesn't know anything about Brooklyn's secret baby boy, but he could still provide some info that helps Lulu out. Thanks to her search for intel, Lulu should take steps toward confirming her theory that Gio is Brooklyn and Dante Falconeri's son. Speaking of Dante, he'll be busy clashing with Jason now that he's hinted about charging Danny Morgan as an accessory to manslaughter. Jason will wonder if Dante intends to follow through with that threat, but he obviously doesn't since Rocco Falconeri survived his ordeal. Dante can't go as far as charging Danny with a fatal crime, but he'll still feel like Danny deserves harsher consequences. Jason will strike back at Dante and perhaps argue that he can decide for himself how to parent Danny. Dante needs to concentrate on Rocco instead and accept that his son's responsible for the crazy amount of booze he consumed. Danny will want to give both Lulu and Rocco an apology, so he'll head to their house. That'll give Lulu an opportunity to lecture Danny herself and make a prediction about his reckless days coming to an end. Since Danny will show genuine remorse, Lulu may cut him some slack. Unlike Dante, Lulu seems more willing to accept that some typical teenage mistakes were made. That doesn't negate how serious all this was, but Lulu should mostly just be relieved that Rocco is oak and Danny has learned his lesson. Next, Willow Corinthos will put Curtis Ashford through a grilling session about Aurora's news on Drew. Will continue tightening his grip on Portia Robinson in her office. Despite Portia's attempt to dodge Drew's demands, he'll refuse to back down. Drew's threats will get even worse, especially now that Brad Cooper has provided more leverage. Will Drew stun Portia by revealing that he knows she was involved in the ketamine plot? Regardless, Portia won't be able to escape Drew's blackmail scheme anytime soon. At Sonny Corinthos' place, he'll get updates on Jen Sidwell's tempting offer. With Jordan Ashford's assistance, Sidwell will try to sell Sonny on a specific deal that could benefit them both. Will Sonny go for Sidwell's idea or turn it away due to how untrustworthy he is? Sonny will have to be careful since Sidwell is always up to no good. As for Alexis Davis, she'll speak with Brooke Lynn and Harrison Chase on Friday's episode. Alexis may have some guidance when it comes to the adoption process that Chase and Brooke Lynn are gearing up for. Finally, General Hospital spoilers say Willow and Sasha Gilmore Corbin will bump into each other, so that'll bring some erupting tension to wrap up the week. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Messy Syrup. It's me, Abby, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching, so let's dive into today's video. General Hospital spoilers hint that Emma Scorpio Drake may seduce Professor Henry Hank Dalton when all else fails. Will Jocelyn Jacks stop Emma's bedroom extra credit plot as this storyline heats up? GH fans know Jocelyn stole Emma's flash drive, corrupted the info, and pretended to find the sabotaged flash drive on the beach. Now Emma thinks Jocelyn is a lifesaver, but she's about to discover her extra credit assignment is totally useless. This will be a major setback in Emma's plan to score the research assistant position, and she's already made it clear that failure isn't an option in her eyes. Emma is just as determined as Jocelyn to score this research assistant gig for herself. That's why Emma won't let this bump in the road deter her plans. However, it'll certainly make it harder for Emma to impress Professor Dalton, at least with the usual extra credit methods. How far will Emma go to turn things around after this flash drive disaster? Emma seems like she'd do just about anything to lock in Dalton's research assistant gig, which is a key part of her plan to find out exactly what heinous things he's up to and expose them. Based on Emma and Professor Dalton's past interactions, we definitely got a creepy vibe on his end. Professor Dalton's interest in Emma may be about more than just her work as his student. After Emma's extra credit assignment is an absolute flop, could Professor Dalton offer her an alternative solution? We could certainly imagine Professor Dalton putting his hand on Emma's and perhaps suggesting there are other ways to impress him. Emma might even go as far as seducing Professor Dalton and showing some fake interest to nudge him in that direction. Jocelyn is already feeling guilty about her sabotage, but she'll feel even worse if Emma seems posed to carry out a more passionate extra credit assignment next. There's no way Jocelyn could stand by and let Emma land in bed with Professor Dalton. Even if Emma just strings Professor Dalton along until she can score more info, she could put herself in an unsettling situation that doesn't work for Jocelyn. Will Jocelyn ultimately put her WSB mission at risk to come to Emma's rescue? Vaughn has already been making some predictions about the trouble that's brewing due to Jocelyn and Emma's connection, so stay tuned to see if that'll indeed cause problems. Jocelyn could blow her cover and jeopardize the assignment Jack Brennan gave her regarding Dalton's new technology if she's not careful. General Hospital spoilers say Jocelyn may have to make some updates to her plans along the way, so stay tuned for any complicated news to come. General Hospital spoilers reveal that we have to ask, did Nina Reeves just hint at a Sonny Corinthos reunion with 6 powerful words? There might still be hope for Sonny and Nina to get back together, so let's talk about Nina's clue in GA's May 8 episode. At the Metro Court Bar, Nina spent some time catching up with Curtis Ashford, which naturally brought her tirade about Drew Kane. However, Curtis and Nina also weighed in on the referendum and the fight against Sonny that's playing out in Port Charles. Nearby, Drew ultimately joined Tracy Quartermain, Jordan Ashford, Jen Sidwell, and Marco Rios for what was basically an anti-Sonny meeting. There's definitely a big push against Sonny happening right now, but Nina made it clear who she supports. That brings us to those 6 powerful words that could leave the door open for Sonny and Nina's romantic reunion. Despite everything, I'm still Team Sonny, Nina declared. Of course, that doesn't confirm Nina and Sonny will get another romantic chapter, but it doesn't rule it out either. The fact that Sonny still has Nina's support is at least a step in the right direction. Nina can still be Team Sonny without reuniting with him, but some fans are holding out hope that they might be a couple again someday. There's no denying that Sonny and Nina's romance had a pretty unique flavor, so it might be interesting to see it revisited. For a while, it looked like Sonny's friendship with Natalia Ramirez might be headed into romantic territory, but that all fell apart after Sonny found out Natalia deceived him about Sidwell being the ex-husband she shares a son with. He cut ties with her. Now, Sonny has been bonding with Carly Spencer again, but is that about pushing them back toward a reunion or strengthening their co-parent connection instead? Nothing is set in stone when it comes to Sonny's future, so reuniting with Nina remains an option. How would you feel about Nina and Sonny finding their way back to each other? Sonny will continue to make predictions about getting out of the mob, so we'll see what updates he makes to his life once he accomplishes that. General Hospital star Cameron Matheson returned to the scene of the fire. He lost his home and everything else in the wildfires that swept Los Angeles earlier this year, but there was one thing that survived. Matheson shared an update with his Instagram followers. He revealed that he returned to his home to sort out what was left after he lost his home to the wildfire in January. Matheson came across one treasured item that survived. It's still in somewhat fair condition, although it got cooked in the fire. I'm here at the burn site. Gotta be honest, it's not easy seeing every remnant of our house bulldozed out and cleared. But I want to talk about something that's a little positive, Matheson shared in his video. Mustang somewhat survived the fire. It was one of the few things that survived, and this car is very, very important to me and the kids for different reasons. The Mustang will need some work done on it, including a paint job. Matheson found that the keys were still in the ignition, and the engine was working, but they still need a new key cylinder. They will also need new tires. Matheson will get a quote from the auto body shop so he can save this family vehicle. She looks good from afar right now, Matheson said with a smile on his face. Just wait until we get her painted. In his caption, he wrote sweet memories about this vehicle. 25 years with this 65 Mustang Fastback, and somehow it made it through the Eaton fire. The kids always dreamed of keeping it in the family for generations, so we're doing everything we can to bring it back to life. In his post, Matheson shared that his kids still want to drive this vehicle. He's trying to save it for their sake. Fans took to Matheson's post to share their thoughts. Most of them were happy to see him smiling. One fan wrote, "Good to see that you're smiling." Meanwhile, others shared thoughts and prayers. Some fans could relate to Matheson's story. One user commented, "So sorry about the fires that destroyed so much. Your car is beautiful. My son-in-law loves his too. We'll be praying for you to get back to some sort of normal and get your home rebuilt." In a stunning turn of events that has all of Port Charles buzzing, Michael Corinthos has returned from Germany a changed man. And not just because of his physical scars. Sources close to the Corinthos heir reveal he's plotting the ultimate revenge against both Willow Corinthos and Sasha Gilmore that could leave both women permanently separated from their children. He's not the same Michael who left Port Charles, whispers one insider who visited him during his grueling rehabilitation in Germany. Those burn treatments didn't just heal his skin, they hardened his heart. For months, while undergoing countless surgeries and agonizing physical therapy, Michael Corinthos stared at his reflection in hospital mirrors, each scar becoming a reminder of what he perceived as betrayal by the mother of his children. According to those who witnessed his transformation, Michael's pain morphed into an ice-cold determination that sent chills down the spines of even his closest confidants. Jason Morgan, longtime friend and unofficial guardian to Michael, reportedly flew back and forth between Port Charles and Germany, becoming increasingly concerned about the vengeful fire burning in Michael's eyes. Even Sasha's heartfelt letters pleading for forgiveness were met with stony silence as Michael methodically crafted his master plan for retribution. While still recovering in Germany, Michael quietly funneled substantial resources into assembling what one legal expert calls a legal death squad, elite attorneys known for their ruthless approach to family court battles. Their mission? Not just to challenge Willow's custody rights, but to completely eradicate them. He's not interested in co-parenting, reveals a source close to the Corinthos family. Michael wants Willow erased from Wiley and Amelia's lives, permanently. While Willow remained blissfully unaware, juggling bedtime stories and school activities, Michael's team was building a case designed to portray her as fundamentally unfit for motherhood. He wants his children to forget she ever existed, says our source. When Michael's legal tsunami finally hit, spectators packed the Port Charles courthouse for what one observer called the custody battle of the century. Willow arrived stunned but defiant, facing a wall of attorneys and damning testimony about her character. The atmosphere in the courtroom crackled with tension as witnesses paraded past with tales of Willow's supposed nightclub flirtations, missed doctor appointments, and questionable parenting decisions. Each testimony struck like a dagger as Michael watched from his seat with unwavering determination. But just when it seemed Willow would be overwhelmed by Michael's legal onslaught, a bombshell recording surfaced, revealing Michael and his investigators allegedly discussing fabrication of evidence. "The courtroom literally gasped," says one spectator. Even the judge looked shocked. In perhaps the most surprising twist of all, Willow and Sasha, once romantic rivals, formed an unlikely alliance against Michael's vengeful campaign. The two women, both fighting for their children's futures, found strength in unity. Seeing them squeeze hands in the courtroom was like watching the formation of a mama bear army, notes a courtroom regular. Michael never saw it coming. As the custody battle intensified, cracks began appearing in Michael's seemingly impenetrable armor. The Guardian ad litem's investigation revealed his lavish home as sterile and impersonal, while Willow's more modest dwelling was described as warm and nurturing. When questioned about his children's daily lives, Michael couldn't recall basic details like the title of Wiley's favorite bedtime story or the theme of Amelia's recent art project. In a ruling that sent shockwaves through the community, the judge rejected Michael's bid for exclusive custody, citing his weaponization of the legal system and questioning his emotional connection to his children. Michael stood there frozen, like he couldn't believe his money and power hadn't won the day, says our courthouse source. It was the first time anyone had seen him look truly vulnerable since his return. The judge's final order mandated shared custody, family therapy, and, in a particularly stinging rebuke, prohibited Michael from filing any new custody petitions for 2 years. As cameras flashed outside the courthouse, Michael faced a crossroads that would define his future. With his legal arsenal neutralized and his revenge plot in shambles, he watched as his children waited on the courthouse steps, Wiley clutching a book, Amelia holding her favorite stuffed animal. Something changed in that moment, reveals a witness. It was like seeing the old Michael fighting to break through. In a scene that brought tears to onlookers' eyes, Michael dropped to his knees and opened his arms to his children. As they ran to him, the hard shell he built in Germany seemed to crack, revealing glimpses of the man he once was. Standing nearby, Willow and Sasha, no longer adversaries but allies bound by motherhood, witnessed the beginning of what could be healing for all involved. Sources close to the family suggest Michael's journey back from the brink of vengeance has only just begun. The question now is whether he can truly let go of his need for control, says a family friend. Those German scars may have healed, but the emotional ones run much deeper. With mandatory family therapy sessions looming and co-parenting arrangements to navigate, the Corinthos family drama is far from over. But one thing is certain, Michael's plan to strip Willow and Sasha of motherhood has failed, leaving him to reckon with the consequences of his vendetta. Will Michael find redemption? Can Willow forgive his attempt to erase her from their children's lives? And how will Sasha's baby factor into this complicated family web? General Hospital spoilers for Friday, May 9, 2025 are here. In tomorrow's episode, fans can expect Lulu Spencer to grill Ned Quartermaine. Brooke Lynn Quartermaine and Harrison Chase meet with Alexis Davis. Plus, Jen Sidwell issues another proposition. Keep reading and let's talk about what is coming up in the next episode of the ABC soap opera. In tomorrow's episode, expect Jordan Ashford and Sidwell to meet with Sonny Corinthos. In a preview clip, Sidwell laughs and then corrects Sonny, saying he's there to make a deal. The villain adds that it will be a deal that is mutually beneficial for them both. However, it doesn't look like Sonny is too pleased. Over at the hospital, Drew Kane will continue threatening Portia Robinson. Brad Cooper made a deal with Drew and is leaving town with a wad of cash. Meanwhile, Portia will try to convince Drew that she can't control Curtis Ashford. Drew really doesn't care and tells Portia that they've barely scratched the surface of what she can do. So, it sounds like Drew doesn't plan on having Portia arrested, but is going to make her do his bidding. General Hospital spoilers for Friday, May 9 reveal that Lulu questions Ned. Now, this has to do with Lois Cerullo defending Giovanni Gio Palmieri to Dante Falconeri. Lulu made a note to find out Lois' location during Gio's birth. Lulu probably assumes that Ned will remember where Lois was all those years ago. Ned might wonder what this has to do with though. Lois has maintained that she didn't even tell her husband about Brooke Lynn's teen pregnancy. So will Lulu's questioning have Ned confronting Lois? Of course, it's also possible that Ned might have found out over the years and just never said anything to Lois. At the same time, this really isn't Lulu's story or her business. Fans will also see Sasha Gilmore Corbin and Willow Tate Corinthos have another tense encounter. Willow also confronts Curtis about the article. Back to Lulu, she tells Danny Morgan that they need to get a few things straight. Over with Jason Morgan, he asks Dante Falconeri if he's threatening to charge Danny with manslaughter. Plus, Brooke Lynn and Chase will meet with Alexis. Meanwhile, Tracy Quartermain confronts Lois as Ned observes. Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most? General Hospital is once again diving into familiar waters with a recycled storyline that's become almost a rite of passage in Port Charles. A secret parent-child dynamic where the characters hate each other before discovering they're related. This time, the tension lies between Dante Falconeri and Gio Palmieri, a narrative setup that feels both unearned and all too familiar. Dante's sudden animosity toward Gio has seemingly come out of nowhere. Longtime fans know that Dante has always liked Gio, and there's been no real build-up to justify this abrupt shift. It's a move that feels forced and inorganic, clearly intended to set up the eventual paternity reveal. According to the show's current arc, only a few characters, Lois, her mother Gloria, and lawyer Martin Gray, are aware that Dante is Gio's father, but Lulu is closing in on the truth, and a dramatic reveal is undoubtedly on the horizon. This marks at least the 5th time General Hospital has used this secret parent-child with mutual hatred plot. Perhaps most famously, the show executed this storyline with Dante himself and his father, Sonny Corinthos. At that time, Dante arrived in Port Charles undercover, aiming to take down Sonny, unaware that he was his biological father. The truth only emerged after Sonny shot Dante in a botched setup, a near-fatal event that stunned viewers and characters alike. Other notable versions of this trope include the fraught beginnings between Sam and Alexis, who were at odds for years before discovering their true connection. Their mother-daughter relationship only began to blossom after multiple betrayals, misunderstandings, and tragedies, including Alexis witnessing Sam and her then-husband Rick in a compromising moment. Another modern example was the rocky dynamic between Nina and Willow. Initially antagonistic, their relationship evolved from mutual disdain to a reluctant familial bond after a long string of reveals, including the discovery that Willow, not Nell, was Mayna's daughter. That story arc, too, hinged on years of hidden truths and emotionally charged confrontations. And, of course, there's the origin of this recurring plot pattern, Carly and Bobby Spencer. Unlike other examples, Carly came to town already knowing Bobby was her mother, and she made it her mission to ruin her. She seduced Bobby's husband, Tony, and dismantled her life piece by piece. Yet, in time, even that relationship evolved into one of love and redemption. So here we are again. The writers are repeating a pattern that's become predictable: instant conflict, shocking revelation, emotional fallout, and eventual reconciliation. While longtime viewers may feel a sense of déjà vu, there's also a growing desire among fans for fresher, more innovative storytelling. The Dante Gio plot has the potential for emotional depth, but right now it feels rushed and unearned. As General Hospital dives deeper into a power-shifting arc, the once unshakable Corinthos Empire stands on the brink of collapse. With Sonny's prolonged absence due to worsening health and strategic silence, the criminal and business networks he built over decades now teeter dangerously. What was once tightly held by blood loyalty and silent coordination has become vulnerable to external pressure and internal disarray. For years, Sunny's presence was the linchpin holding together a sprawling structure of legal and illicit ventures, including nightclubs, shipping routes, and foreign assets. However, his recent withdrawal from public life has triggered a domino effect. Associates, allies, and adversaries are making calculated moves, each with personal ambitions. Tracy Quartermain has emerged as a major threat, leveraging her wealth, political clout, and indifference to moral restraints. She has begun targeting Corinthos' controlled assets with surgical precision, using legal loopholes, business acquisitions, and backroom alliances to choke off the empire's financial lifelines. Meanwhile, the Cassadine faction attacks through data manipulation and espionage, creating chaos in logistics and intelligence. Within the Corinthos family, Christina's instability and impulsiveness have sparked doubt. While her bloodline carries symbolic weight, her erratic behavior undermines any claim to leadership. Gio, a rising but unproven figure mentored by Brick, lacks the authority and experience needed to command respect. Michael, the presumed heir, has been notably absent, his silence only widening the power vacuum. Amid the uncertainty, Jason emerges from the shadows, transitioning from enforcer to strategist. He launches an internal cleanup, restructures operations, and initiates emergency contingency planning. His quiet yet deliberate pivot signals a shift toward proactive defense and leadership realignment. Brick, once a background operator and Sunny's trusted intelligence handler, is thrust into the spotlight. Backed by Jason and supported unequivocally by Carly, Brick is positioned to stabilize the crumbling empire, not just in an advisory capacity, but as acting head. Carly authorizes financial transitions and activates dormant legal provisions to legitimize his authority. Veteran attorney Diane Miller is brought in to ensure every loophole is sealed. Brick's elevation isn't merely symbolic, it marks a tactical pivot. He now oversees logistics, neutralizes internal threats, and coordinates with field operatives under constant surveillance from rival factions. Former allies begin monitoring him, and intelligence systems show his name increasingly flagged, a clear indicator that the enemy recognizes his new status. Jason frames Brick's role not as temporary, but as vital. This shift is designed to project strength, deter opportunists, and consolidate what remains of Corinthos' influence until a permanent successor emerges, if one ever does. Carly steps into a central role, managing both emotional and strategic stability. As Brick gains operational control, Carly handles the financial and legal complexities, ensuring continuity. She also becomes the bridge between old loyalties and new structures, acting as both political shield and tactical anchor. Just as Brick's authority begins to solidify, Michael returns, quietly but with unmistakable force. His reappearance is not emotional but strategic. No longer the vulnerable heir, Michael arrives with purpose, secrets, and suppressed ambition. His presence throws the entire hierarchy into flux. Brick, now the acting leader, faces the first true test of his authority. With factions already circling, and Michael reasserting himself, the Corinthos Empire enters a volatile phase where every misstep could be fatal, not just to its structure, but to its legacy. Port Charles stands at a tipping point. The Corinthos dynasty, once untouchable, is under siege from all sides. As Carly, Jason, and Brick form an unlikely triad to defend its remnants, Michael's return threatens to unravel their fragile gains. The war is no longer theoretical, it has begun. And in this battlefield, survival won't depend on legacy, but on speed, strategy, and the willingness to act without hesitation. In a pivotal development on General Hospital, Sonny Corinthos confronts Dante Falconeri with a life-altering revelation. Gio is Dante's biological son. This disclosure unravels years of secrecy and sets the stage for profound emotional reckonings within the Corinthos and Quartermain families. The revelation stems from a confrontation between Dante and Gio, where Dante, unaware of their familial bond, accuses Gio of negatively influencing his son Rocco. This incident prompts Lois Cerullo to disclose to Sunny that Gio is, in fact, Dan's son, a secret she has kept for nearly 2 decades. Recognizing the gravity of the situation, Sunny decides it's time for the truth to come to light. Upon learning the truth, Dante is overwhelmed with guilt and remorse for his earlier actions toward Gio. He confronts Sunny, expressing anger over the years of secrecy and the missed opportunity to know his son. Sunny explains that the decision to keep Gio's parentage hidden was made to protect all parties involved, emphasizing the complexities of their family dynamics. When Dante reveals to Gio that he is his father, Gio is initially stunned and struggles to process the information. The revelation brings forth feelings of abandonment and betrayal, complicating their relationship further. Despite Dante's sincere apologies and desire to build a relationship, Gio remains hesitant, needing time to come to terms with this new reality. The disclosure of Gio's parentage has far-reaching implications for the Corinthos and Quartermain families. As the characters navigate the emotional aftermath, questions arise about trust, forgiveness, and the possibility of reconciliation. What began as a calculated plan for justice quickly spiraled into chaos as Drew Cain's elaborate revenge scheme took a dark and unexpected turn. After waking from a coma and realizing he had been drugged and manipulated, Drew became convinced that Portia was the mastermind behind his suffering. Determined to make her pay, Drew spent months orchestrating a meticulous plan to expose her secrets and destroy her reputation. To pull it off, Drew enlisted the help of Brad, a former associate known for his cunning and greed. Brad agreed to help, for a price. In exchange for a hefty $500,000 payment, Brad provided information that not only confirmed Portia's involvement, but revealed an even darker truth. She had hired Jinda, the woman responsible for drugging Drew. This bombshell only fueled Drew's resolve to take Portia down, both personally and professionally. Confident and armed with damning evidence, Drew stormed into a meeting at General Hospital, confronting Portia in front of her peers, including Terry and Elizabeth. He accused her of orchestrating the drugging and falsifying medical records to protect herself. As Drew unveiled each revelation, Portia appeared visibly shaken, her carefully crafted facade crumbling. But just as Drew believed he had won, the tide turned. What he didn't know was that Brad had already betrayed him. Fearing the consequences and pressured by Curtis, who had grown increasingly suspicious, Brad had come clean. He confessed everything to Curtis, who used the information to confront Drew at the hospital, catching him completely off guard. As Drew delivered what he thought would be the final blow to Portia's career, Curtis stepped into the room and exposed Drew's own deception. The man who thought he was administering justice now found himself at the center of the scandal. Curtis, seething with anger, delivered a powerful punch to Drew, physically and emotionally shattering what remained of his plan. Then came the final twist. Before Drew could regain his footing, Max Scorpio entered with police officers in tow. To everyone's shock, Portia was arrested on the spot. The authorities had gathered enough evidence to charge her with serious crimes. Drew watched, stunned, as the woman he aimed to humiliate was led out in handcuffs. His elaborate revenge both successful and self-destructive. In the end, Drew's plan worked, but at a cost far greater than he had imagined. His trust had been broken, his reputation tarnished, and his closest ally had turned against him. What was meant to be his moment of triumph became a stark reminder of the dangerous line between justice and obsession. As the dust settles at General Hospital, one thing is clear: the fallout from this confrontation is far from over. In a stunning turn of events, General Hospital delivers a double-impact storyline that reshapes the emotional landscape of Port Charles. The first centers on Jason Morgan and his son, Danny, who are forced to confront a long-held secret that changes everything they believed about the past, especially concerning Sam McCall's death. The revelation begins with Danny's emotional confession to Jason regarding a tragic incident involving his friend Rocco Falconer. Rocco's near-death experience due to alcohol poisoning forced Danny to take accountability, leading to a heartfelt reconciliation with his father. This sincere moment opens the door to a much more astonishing disclosure: Sam is alive. 9 days after Sam's funeral, Danny received a letter in her handwriting claiming she had survived her supposed death. The letter explained that she had been rescued by a covert organization and placed in intensive training. Sam emphasized the need for secrecy and promised to return to Port Charles exactly 3 years after her death. Initially skeptical, Jason is compelled to believe the truth upon seeing the letter himself. His growing suspicion expands to include Dex Heller, another presumed dead character with a similarly mysterious demise. Jason's investigation leads him to exhume both Sam and Dex's graves, only to find both coffins empty. This discovery confirms his worst suspicions and sets off a deeper probe into a highly organized conspiracy. The implications are profound. Jason now believes this unknown organization has been targeting key individuals in Port Charles for covert operations. As he digs further into the conspiracy, he remains silent publicly, confiding only in Danny and a few trusted allies. This shared knowledge strengthens the father-son bond and helps Danny cope with the emotional weight of the secret. Meanwhile, in another part of town, a separate crisis brews around Sonny Corinthos and his hidden grandson, Gio Palmieri. Sonny's dangerous ties to the mob world are now threatening the next generation. Gio remains unaware of the full scope of his connection to Sonny, believing him to be just an uncle figure. However, hidden truths point to Sonny being Gio's biological grandfather, a fact known only to a select few. As tensions rise, Tracy Quartermain issues a dire warning to Gio, urging him to distance himself from Sonny or risk ending up in jail or worse. Her fears are more justified than she realizes. Unbeknownst to Tracy, she is actually Gio's great-grandmother, a truth that could devastate her if revealed under tragic circumstances. Foreshadowing suggests Gio may soon suffer a critical health emergency that exposes these long-hidden family secrets. In a worst-case scenario, a desperate need for an organ donor could force the disclosure of Gio's true paternity. If Sonny is tested and found to be a match, it would confirm his role as Gio's grandfather and force him to confront the consequences of his past. The dual arcs underscore General Hospital's hallmark storytelling, intertwining personal loss, long-buried truths, and dramatic reunions. Jason's pursuit of answers regarding Sam's disappearance reveals a vast and potentially sinister operation, while Gio's looming crisis brings legacy and lineage into sharp focus. As Port Charles braces for what comes next, the stage is set for emotional reunions, high-stakes revelations, and a continued unraveling of the complex web that binds these characters together. Whether in Jason's determined quest or Sonny's desperate efforts to shield his family, the central theme remains clear: family ties, no matter how hidden, have the power to both destroy and heal. Gio Palmieri carved a quiet yet undeniable presence in Port Charles, his charm and musical talent endearing him to many. A sensitive violinist with an unassuming smile and poetic aura, Gio's gentle spirit and apparent innocence captivated audiences. However, beneath his soft-spoken demeanor lay a turbulent past and a burning desire for truth. Unbeknownst to many, Gio was the product of a secret teenage romance between Brooklyn Quartermain and Dante Falconeri. Conceived during a summer camp fling, Brooklyn gave birth to Gio and, with the assistance of her mother Lois Cirillo, arranged for a private adoption. Gio was raised by Camilla Palmieri, believing her to be his biological mother, while Dante remained unaware of his son's existence. As Gio integrated himself into the fabric of Port Charles, his interactions with key figures like Tracy Quartermaine, Jason Morgan, and Sonny Corinthos were strategic, allowing him to observe and understand the dynamics of power and legacy within the town. His musical performances, particularly on the violin, were not just artistic expressions, but also a means to process and contain his inner turmoil. The revelation of Gio's true parentage sent shockwaves through Port Charles. Tracy Quartermaine's discovery that Gio is her great-grandson left her speechless, while Brooklyn and Dante grappled with the emotional fallout of their past decisions. Gio, feeling betrayed and unseen, struggled with the knowledge that his existence had been kept a secret, leading to a deep sense of erasure and abandonment. Amidst this chaos, Gio found solace in Emma Scorpio Drake, whose own experiences with loss and identity created a bond between them. Their relationship, rooted in shared pain and understanding, became a source of comfort and strength as they navigated the complexities of their respective pasts. Gio's parentage may finally be revealed. Will he save Rocco? Is General Hospital finally going to do it? Will Port Charles find out who Gio really is? It looks like now may be the time. Rocco is in trouble. The poor kid didn't want to go to a college party, but Danny convinced him. He was then peer pressured into drinking way too much and ended up in the hospital getting his stomach pumped. Odds are that it won't be just alcohol poisoning, it will be something much worse. He will need a blood transfusion, or a kidney, or another organ, and they will not be able to find a match. Lois just happened to be with Dante when he received the call about Rocco, so she is at GH for all the news. She will now be forced to reveal that Gio is Dante's son, and he will hopefully save Rocco's life. This will not be neatly tied up in a bow. All of Port Charles will be furious with Lois when they learn the truth, especially Brooklyn, Dante, and Gio. Tracy just learned that Brooklyn had a baby that she gave up for adoption when she was a teen. She was kind and understanding with her granddaughter, but her wrath came out with Lois. She was never fond of her former daughter-in-law, so she was happy to blame her for the entire situation. As everyone knows, the house is not Tracy's, but if it were, she might have tossed Lois out. Just wait until she realizes her great-grandson is Gio and Lois has been hiding him in plain sight. This storyline has gone on for a very long time, and it looks like it is finally coming to a dramatic conclusion. It will probably all work out in the end, but there is much drama to come. It might be time for Lois to go back to Bensonhurst. Do you think the truth will be revealed when Gio is a donor for Rocco? Let us know in the comment section. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.